Hey guys, what I'd like to do in this video is talk about the upcoming Capcom home arcade system, which is coming out at the end of October 2019. But before I get to that, there's two other gaming stories that I want to talk about. The first one being about Street Fighter V being free to play from today until May the 5th, as you can see here. And you can see here that amid that time, you'll have the capacity to play the arcade edition, an extended version of the original that includes an arcade mode, extra battle mode, and team battle mode. It will contain all 16 original characters, plus 4 downloadable content fighters: Akuma, Blanca, Juri, and Minat. So, yeah, if you've got Steam, if you play games on your laptop or PC, and you've never played Street Fighter V, this is a good deal. And I would like to see more companies doing this. When I played the PlayStation 3 a lot, I used to always download demos. They always offered a demo. Now, with the PlayStation 4, you don't see demos as much as you used to. You do see it for certain games like FIFA, and you do see pre-release games where they let you play for a few days for testing, Call of Duty and things like that. But for the most part, there really isn't any demo content for the games that you want to play. Certainly not compared to what it used to be like. And I'd like to see more gaming companies do this. Now, I'm not saying that Capcom should go the way of Fortnite and offer all the games free of charge. I realise that for certain games it just doesn't work that way. But this is good. It's good that allows everyone to try the game and see what it's like. And it's a positive thing that Capcom is doing, because I think in the fighting world, the fighting gaming world or gaming fighting world, I think that gaming companies have kind of taken advantage of gamers over the last 10-15 years. Back in the day, you'd play a game, you'd unlock characters, you'd unlock costumes just by playing the game. And yes, you sometimes can do that, but they normally make it purposely difficult to get the content that you want so that people will then opt to buy it instead. I mean, charging $3 or something for a different version of your character's costume is ridiculous, but they're obviously making money from it, so they continue to do it. But I grew up in an age where you just unlocked all the content within the game, and I'd like to see that return. I believe that if you pay the original price for a game, you buy the full game, then being asked to spend more money to get the content you should have got in the first place is ridiculous. And I've seen this in many different games. It's not just Street Fighter. You see it in Mortal Kombat, you see it in WWE games, you see it in UFC games. All the fighting games seem to kind of drip feed content in this way, where you buy the game and you're buying a restricted version of the game that doesn't have all the characters, and they want you to play an insane amount of hours and do crazy challenges to get what you should have got in the first place. They don't have the balance right. But in this instance, I think they've done the right thing. They're offering the game for 2 weeks. And yeah, I'd love to see more games companies doing this and offering free trials so that you can get a feel for the game. And then what they'll hopefully do is convert a lot of people who didn't play before into people who buy the game and then play it on a regular basis. So kudos to Capcom there. So the next story is about Sega and the Genesis Mini / Mega Drive Mini. I call it the Mega Drive because that's what I grew up with. Basically, they announced this a week or so ago, and I pre-ordered this immediately because this was a console I loved growing up. And there's going to be 40 games in this, 40 emulated games in the Mega Drive Mini. But they only announced 10 when they announced the console. And they've just announced another 10. One being Earthworm Jim, but they've also added Castle of Illusion, World of Illusion, the Mickey Mouse platformer games. I know that it doesn't sound good to have Mickey Mouse games, but these were actually quite good platform games. Not saying they're Mario standard, but they're good games. From a gaming perspective, it's good to include them. So I'll give you the full list of games here. They've added Contra and Hard Cops and different things as well. But so we've got 20 of the 40 games. Here's the list: Sonic the Hedgehog, Echo the Dolphin, Castlevania Bloodlines, Space Harrier 2, Shining Force, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, ToeJam and Earl, Comic Zone, Altered Beast, Gunstar Heroes, which is good, a little shooting game, Earthworm Jim, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Castle of Illusion, World of Illusion, Contra Hard Cops. I like to see that because I've not played that version. Thunder Force 3, Super Fantasy Zone, Shinobi 3, Return of the Ninja Master. I've played the original Shinobi, so that's good. Streets of Rage 2 and Landstalker. So from that, I think they've got a good mix so far. You know, this is something that I'm hoping for. I want a good variety of games. I think if you look at that list, choosing Streets of Rage 2 over Streets of Rage 1 is good. Maybe they'll add Streets of Rage 1 later, I don't know. But I think that it makes sense to include Sonic the Hedgehog 2 because it's such a classic game and it's two-player, etc. So I think it makes sense to include Sonic the Hedgehog 2. But for Castle of Illusion or World of Illusion, there's maybe an argument that they should have maybe have just picked one and left the other one out, like they've done with Shinobi 3. You know, look at a series of games, 1, 2, 3, 4 games, however many games there was in a series, and just pick the best one and include that. And what that does is allow you to include a better variety of games. So I would like to see that rather than 2 or 3 versions of one game included in the 40 game package. But maybe it will be a moot point if you can add your own games to the system. But yeah, the list looks good. Upstairs, I still got all my original gaming magazines from the early 90s. So I've got original reviews of all of these games. And I remember that most of these are games that got like 80% upwards. Like they were reviewed being good or excellent. So they're all classic games. The standard of games being included is very high. And I'm looking forward to seeing the next 20 games. I don't like the fact that they're drip feeding the games to us in this way. Rather, they just told us. But maybe they're still, messing about with some things. But hopefully we'll see some sports games and hopefully we'll see a good variety of games. Okay, the main story is, of course, Capcom Home Arcade. This is the Capcom store, the European store. And there's actually better information about this on the Amazon listing. Here, there's actually a little bit more information, but you can see there's £200 in the UK. It will be released October 25th, 2019. €230, so you're talking $230, $250 in USA. And you can see an explanation here. Now, the explanation is a little bit better on Amazon, but I'll read this anyway. Are you ready for the authentic arcade feeling in your home? The Home Arcade comes loaded with 16 classic Capcom arcade titles and offers a true arcade experience thanks to competition class Sanwa, JLF, TP, 8YT sticks and OBSF buttons. Okay, that's a little bit of a mouthful. I'm not claiming to be an arcade specialist or even an arcade enthusiast. I grew up playing arcade games. I used to play them at lunchtime. I used to play them after school with my friends. We used to play them on a Saturday. We'd all go down and we'd play them. But, since then, I've not been following the arcade world, So I know that Sam was a very good brand. And I know that Capcom, of course, have 40 years of experience in the arcade world. So what I think they've done here is put in arcade, professional, premium quality arcade sticks and buttons there. And as I said, there's maybe some of you guys out there that are more experienced in this area. My friend Mark, for example, he's got multiple arcade units at home. He's right into it. He's actually a member of an arcade community and he knows everything about arcade sticks, etc. And arcade sticks generally are expensive, not just the ones for arcade units, the ones for your console, the ones you buy for an Xbox One or a PlayStation 4. If you buy a good arcade stick, you can be paying well over 100 for just an individual one. So this one comes with 2 and they look very good quality and you've got the games. Now, as far as the games go, you can see here 1944, The Loop Master, so that's the vertical scrolling game. Alien vs Predator, Armored Warriors, Capcom Sports Club, which has got basketball, tennis and soccer, Captain Commando, Cyberbots, Darkstalkers, Eco Fighters, Final Fight, Ghouls and Ghosts, Giga Wing, Mega Man The Power Battle, Pro Gear, Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting, again they've chosen one game, Strider and Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, which I've actually got that for the PlayStation 3 for some reason. So yeah, it looks good. Now I'll jump over to the Amazon page. I think this page maybe shows you the arcade system a little bit better with the images. And looking at it, the whole unit looks very, very impressive as far as the build quality goes. The sticks look really good. The buttons look good as well. I would hope that these buttons can be changed. I'm hoping that these buttons can be changed because I'm not a big fan of the clear, the see-through buttons. I would like the buttons to be, perhaps all red at the top, all blue at the bottom, maybe green and yellow at the other side or something. I don't know, but I would like to see an option for changing buttons. I'm not sure if that will be possible or not. But I think build quality wise, this looks fantastic. Put it on your desk, hook it to a monitor using HDMI. Now, it says here that you can, well, in fact it was on this page, you can connect via HDMI and power it via micro USB. So that surprised me. I'm not sure why they haven't opted for a Type-C connection, why they've opted for the older micro USB. Type-C would have been better. It can also deliver more power, so I'm not sure why they've opted for that. It does have onboard Wi-Fi, and they've got like a leaderboard system as well. But they should have went for Type-C. But there you go. If I click on the video here, yeah, I'd actually stopped it at the right part. Now here, so you can see here the HDMI and the power button and all that at the back. There really isn't a lot of, connections at the back, a lot of ports, but you really don't need anything. You just need the HDMI port to connect to a monitor or TV and the power. That's it. Now this video, I'll let you guys watch this video yourself. It doesn't really show you much per se. What it does is basically just show you the system spinning around, and then it shows you the videos of the arcades being played, which you can view at any time. So you can see it there. So it's not really showing you anything about the console. Maybe it'd been good to see someone, two people playing it. Anyway, I digress. So the last thing I want to show you here is just the description, featuring a pair of competition class. Right, we've saw that. The 16 pre-installed games are from the original Capcom CPS-1 and CPS-2 arcade ROMs, with emulation provided by FB Alpha, delivering an authentic and accurate arcade experience. Break some high scores in single player, team up with a friend in co-op, multiplayer, or destroy them head-to-head. In a head-to-head battle, then upload your best scores via the Capcom Home Arcade's onboard Wi-Fi to a worldwide high score leaderboard to see how much you match against. So, okay, there's a few things to take in there. Firstly is that they've got 16 original games, but it is of course being emulated. And the other thing is that it does support Wi-Fi, and there is an option to upload your best scores. I think that's a really good option. I like the idea that you can upload your best scores and compete against your friend, compete against yourself, and compete against people all around the world. I think that's good. Okay, so is this worth it? Now, price is always subjective. It's always subjective. But of course, when you can get the Sega Mega Drive Mini for it's like £65-70 in the UK, it's going to be like $80 in the USA, €80. And it comes with 40 games and 2 controllers. That is a great deal. And that kind of price range for me is more kind of impulse buy, yeah, I'm buying it. But at £200, €230, this is a bigger ask. And it's not an impulse buy for me, despite being an arcade fan when I was younger. The reason it's not an impulse buy is because this thing is big. I was thinking about where would I put this? Now, of course, if you were going to buy a full arcade unit or have 2 arcade fighting sticks connected to a PlayStation 4 or something, it would take up a lot of room as well. But that's one reason why I've not ordered it right away. But from a price point of view, with the Sega Mega Drive being £70, this one being £200, I think that it seems like a good price to me. It seems like a good price. Now, there's going to be a lot of yous watching this that are saying, well, you can play these games elsewhere. And of course you can. If you don't care about getting an authentic arcade experience with the Sanwa sticks and the buttons, OBSF buttons, if you don't care about any of that, then just download these ROMs via MAME. Play it on Emulation Station on your computer, Mac, Windows, Linux. You can play it on all of those. You can play these games free of charge. You can put them on a Raspberry Pi. You can put it onto an old gaming console. I've got MAME arcade games on my PSP Go. It's very easy to do that. There's a big homebrew emulation community out there. You don't buy this to simply play the games. You buy this for the hardware. You're buying this to try and recreate the arcade experience, recreate the way that these games were played 30 years ago, because I think kids today will maybe see a game like that and they'll think, oh, it's not good. But this was the way that these games were played originally. Now, of course, 16 games doesn't seem like a lot, especially when you're talking about 40 games in the Mega Drive Mini, and it's about a similar number for the SNES Mini. You've only got 16 games. So the hope here is that the emulation retro gaming community will basically break this open, or Capcom will open it up. I'd like to see that too. And then you can maybe add like 1,000 games to it. 2,000 games onto this. That's what I'd really like to see. Now, if there's not a way to do that, if there's not a way to break that, there will be. There always is. But hypothetically, if there was not a way to play other games on this, then my hope is that Capcom would release other games at a fair price. Perhaps like another 20 games for $20, then another 20 games, do it in packages or something like that. From their point of view, they'd make extra money. And I would like to see that. And it would mean that you would get support for the leaderboard and all that as well. But it's obviously cheaper if the hacking community just breaks it open, and then you can put like 3,000, 5,000 arcade games on it or something like that. Just put MAME on it and MAME onto it. But it said it's provided here by FB Alpha. So all in all, I think that this looks good. I don't think it is too expensive when you look at the price of arcade joysticks. When you look at the arcade fighting sticks and all that for the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One, they are expensive. The good ones do generally cost like 100 or 150. You've got two here, just like it was in the arcades, and they've included 16 classic games. And there's a good variety of games with a shooting game and the sports and there's fighting and all that as well. So overall, I think this looks good. But right now, I've not pre-ordered it. What I'm going to do is wait. I want to look at the reviews and see what people are saying about it as far as the quality of the joysticks and whether it can be, opened up to include other games. But let me know what you think about this, guys. Let me know what you think about Street Fighter V being free. Let me know what you think about the Sega Genesis Mini, or the Sega Mega Drive Mini, as we call it here in the UK. Let me know what you think about the games that have been added. And, of course, let me know what you think about the Capcom Home Arcade. Do you think it's worth the money? Do you think this is going to give you that home experience that they're trying to market to you? Let me know what you think in the comment area, guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. So thanks for watching, and I will speak to you all in the next one. Take care.